Okay, here is a flyby of the battlefield that we have for this game. So the table is 5 foot on the long axis and 3 foot on the short axis, so it's actually smaller than recommended, but as I explained before, I think for a solo game it's ideal. So just to explain then, we have got 3 objectives that the attacker has specified. We've got this village here, the village of Solis, in central Zatunni. We've got the railway station, although a train only comes through once a week, still a vital objective to take and hold. And we've got Mr. Smith's farm here, although Mr. Smith seems to be out probably doing what farmers do. I've got a couple of woodland scrubby type areas. That'll be difficult going. No line of sight into or out of unless you're on the edge of the piece, and that's similar for the village and the farm. And then we've got some small hills and then a patch of rather fertile scrubland, which will be difficult going, but no line of sight obstacles. Okay, so now we have to decide which units are the first on the table. So we'll do that by dicing for them, and rather than place the actual units on the table, I'm going to use the sheet here and mark the sheet. I'll do it in pencil because this sheet has been with me for some time. So basically we'll go through each unit as it says in the rules here. You go through each unit rolling for it once to be the first unit on the table. For the attacker we need a 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So for the People's Popular Front we'll roll for all 5 units for a 2, 4, 5 or a 6. So unit 1 for the regulars, which are the tanks, the armoured car. So we roll a 4, which means that unit comes on as unit 1. There can only be 1 unit, so the second unit. Now we need a 3, 4, 5 or 6, and that's on. Mark a 2 next to that. For the third unit we need a 4, 5 or 6, and this is unit 3, which we get. Unit 4 and 5, actually we need a 5 or a 6. So unit 4, no. Is it unit 5? No. And then for the 5th unit is a 5 or a 6. No. No. So the attacker then has these 2 units on the 3 units on the table and 2 units off the table. Interestingly then, that militia unit, which is now up to 20 small arm bases, 1 RPG and 1 HMG, they're off table. So that initial advantage is mitigated somewhat, and I'm sure the dictator commander, who is Colonel Kwame Isabis, will be quite happy at that. So the leader for the on-table game here for the People's Popular Front is Captain Calcifer Solaris, a rather grand name. But he has got these 3 units on, which is the tanks, small arms with 3 trucks with recoilless rifles, and then another regular unit with 4 small arms, 1 RPG, 1 truck mounted HMG and 1 HMG on foot. So let's see what the dictatorship get onto the table. And now they're slightly different as the defender. Their rolls aren't quite as easy, so it's a 3, 4, 5 or 6 for the first unit. So they get a 3, so their tanks come on as unit 1. The second unit is 4, 5 or 6. And they get their second unit on. So unit 3 is a 5 or 6. And that was a 3. For the militia, so they come on as unit 3. And then for the 4th or 5th unit it's a 6, so oh, there we go. So those regulars are on, and the militia, no. So interestingly then, the defenders outnumber the attackers, which is quite an interesting scenario, but anyway, that is where we are for now. Okay, so I've actually recorded the arrival rolls and got it completely wrong, so I may have edited it out, that first attempt, I may not, so just in case you're wondering what I'm waffling about, I'm just going to go through this again, because I got it entirely wrong having read the example in the rules. Right, so first unit then, we roll to see if they arrive, and we need for the attacker, People's Pocket Front, we need a 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, so they arrive. They're the first unit. And then the second unit need a 3, 4, 5 or 6, and they arrive. For the third unit we need a 5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6, and they do arrive. For the 4th and 5th unit we need a 5 or a 6, so unit 4 gets a 6, so they arrive. And then it's a 5 or 6, which is the last roll for the unit 5, and they don't arrive. So there's actually 4 attacking units, but interestingly, as happened with the first version of this, that large unit of militia now with 20 small arm bases is off table, but they should come on with reinforcements, or the attacker is certainly hoping that they will come on as reinforcements. Now for the defenders, we'll just rub this out again. It is really clear in the rules. I've just it's me that's screwed it up, unfortunately. Right, so let's see what the defenders get then. The first version of this ended up with the defenders with more units on the table than the attackers, which I think can still happen, but perhaps shouldn't happen. Okay, so we roll for the first unit and they need a 3, 4, 5 or 6, and they get it. So that's the tanks will be coming on. For the second unit it's a 4, 5 or 6, and they're on as well. Now unit 3 is a 5 or 6, and we don't get this, so they don't come on. Now we don't, what I did last time was go back and roll again for them, so we don't roll twice. Now for these 2 very depleted militia units, which essentially are going to be RPGs and a truck, having lost 6 bases each during the political manoeuvre phase. So 1, 2, 3, so we're looking at the 4th unit. These are unlikely to come on now. So 3rd unit didn't come on, so 4th unit needs a 6 and doesn't get it, and unit 5 doesn't get it either. So there we go, that's more like it. So units 1 and 2 are on, units 3, 4 and 5 are off table, and hopefully will be reinforcements for the defenders, the dictatorship. So the defender sets up first, And we have, this is unit 2 for the defenders. They've got 2 armoured cars and a unit of 5 small arm bases. They're occupying Mr. Smith's farm. They're not on the edge, so they can't see out, but they can't be seen within the template either. Now if we move over this way past the village of Solace, we've got 2 T-55 tanks guarding this half of the table. Now the attackers can come on pretty much anywhere around the perimeter. Facing doesn't matter, so within these rules there's no side armour, rear armour type mechanic. It's a very straightforward and simple thing. So these are armoured cars but with tank guns on, and these are obviously your typical main battle tanks as T-55s. So that's the defender's setup. Okay, the attacker has chosen this board edge here as the starting position, mainly because we've got 2 objectives relatively close to that area, and I think will be the 2 main objectives. I don't know how much these are worth yet, so the 3 objectives are worth 10, 20 and 30 points respectively. Now normally the attacker would choose which is which, but because I'm playing solo I'm going to leave that to random at the end of the game. So the attacker has 4 units on the table. He's got his tanks here which are coming on, the sort of old Soviet type tanks there. Tank is a tank, an AK47, use whatever you want. There is a you can differentiate tanks whether they've got older guns, newer guns, or just standard guns. These have all got standard guns just for the purpose of this game. We've got a unit with some foot troops here, obviously going to run as this woodland, hold it and then hopefully decide where to press the attack. They've got that Toyota. The Toyota can't enter the template, so I have to be careful on how they use that. Third unit is these trucks. So we've got 3 trucks with recoilless rifles on the back, which are probably going to be a good match for these armoured cars, although obviously they're only trucks, so they don't have the same armour quality. And this lone truck with the canvas on the back, that actually carries some troops. I'll tell you how many in a minute. 4 bases of small arms. And then we've got another unit here who are hiding behind this hill, and I suspect are going to charge over the top and try and take Mr. Smith's farm. So here's another view of the battlefield. All hell is about to break loose.